And a good evening. Welcome out to Little Woodrose Colonnade Shopping Center on Phelan Boulevard, not far from the intersection of Dallin Road here in Beaumont. Our weekly visit with Lamar University head football coach Blane Morgan. Homecoming 2022 this past Saturday out at the Provost Humphrey Stadium, coach. Obviously not the end result you wanted, 37-34, but at one time that score was 37-7. And, you just came battling back and not a lot of time left on the clock when you got the ball on a long field, but the kids never gave up.
Yeah, they definitely have shown throughout the course of the season just the grit that this team has, the determination. I think ultimately it's like the character of our team and the core of our team. There's been a transformation here in the time we've been here with, kind of changing of the guard, recruiting our new kids, and trying to build something, over the course of that time during a really tumultuous time. I mean, a lot of different things have happened during that time, and these kids have been through a lot. And so just talks about how hard they worked and our staff as well, just building in that grit, with this team.
A loss is a loss, but with such a young team, what can they learn? Is there anything they can learn from this?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things throughout the course of this year that they can learn. I think what I've tried to point to is I've tried to point to these positive things. There have been different spurts in games of every single game where we have played very, very well, and if we can take those spurts of the fourth quarter the other night and bits and pieces, what we've got to try to do is we've got to find, and it's on them and on the coaching staff, we've got to find a more consistent play. And that's, that's been the theme throughout the week. And because if we do that, we'll be very, very competitive. We'll be really good. And it's consistency, and you don't get that. You get that through experience and growth and what these guys have experienced this season. And then you need breakthrough. You need a game where a couple things go your way, and the ball bounces your way. You get a couple breaks, and then you break through and win, and then there's a lot more confidence that comes with that.
Unfortunately, the ball didn't bounce your way on a couple of different plays, and I don't think in all my years of football I've seen this. They jump off to a 14-0 lead. Unfortunately, on two fumble recovery returns, just a minute and a half apart in the second quarter, an 18-yarder and a 40-yarder. So, you look at the 37 points right there. There's two touchdowns your defense did not surrender.
Yeah, we missed a chip shot field goal too, so that's 17 points. And we've got to take more pride in just each position, each person, each position room, and just taking care of the ball. I mean, that's football. If you want to win football games, you got to take care of the football, and you can't beat yourself. And right now, we've gotten into a pattern of doing that, and we certainly coach it, and we got to be better at it. That's the bottom line.
You outgained them 376 to 333. A big second half when it came to numbers for you. Mike Chandler comes off the bench. He throws for 239 yards, 2 touchdowns, 11 out of 27. It looked like we saw out of Mike what we thought we'd be seeing out of him coming into the season.
Yeah, he is his growth pattern has certainly been a little bit slower, but if you look back, he really only played in 3 games last year, and so he hasn't played. He just hasn't played a lot. So you're expecting a lot out of a guy that really doesn't have a whole lot of experience, and so he's in this whole growth and development as well. And going back, I've watched all his reps from last week, and just we want to see our quarterbacks be decisive, and that means knowing where to go with the football, going there on time, and not holding the ball. And he did a much better job of that, knowing where to go with it. And then, he would like to have a couple of those throws backward, the 5, and Savon Ray runs right by their corner, and we throw a couple of go routes, and he would like to have that one back. That would have been a nice 95-yard touchdown pass. But we're growing, and he has had a really good week of practice this week. And it's fun to watch these kids grow. It's a really hard time, but hard times create a lot of grit, a lot of, just really grow us into who we are as people and our character. And I think ultimately you'll see that with this team.
At the 11:53 mark of the second quarter, DeMaja Harris sets a record that cannot be broken because they don't extend it into the end zone in college football, a 100-yard kickoff return, and that was something special.
Yeah, it certainly flipped the momentum. I mean, we had two disappointing drives and spit the ball up, and you're like, what's going on here? It's like the Twilight Zone a little bit, and then he returns the kickoff, and then it totally flips, and sways the momentum the other way. He's a guy that we've known is very explosive, and if you want to be explosive on a kickoff return, certainly, at another school we had a very explosive player by the name of Rashad Penny who leads the NCAA, and DeMaja is very similar in his.
By the way, he's on my bench in fantasy football.
Oh, he is?
Yeah,
okay.
So,
all right. I think he had a good game last week.
He did. I should have started him,
Yeah. So I knew you've got to have an explosive guy in order to return kickoffs, and that can be a very momentum-changing play, as can blocking a punt and those sort of things. And we had another, while we're on the special teams theme, we had an unblocked person directly to a punt, and it just went right through his hand.
Oh, yeah.
And you've got to make those plays that you turn on tape and you're like, well, that was an inch away. Well, now you got to there comes a point where you've got to make up
that inch.
You've got to make those plays, and if you do, then we'll see it. We'll see the momentum swing the other direction.
On defense, Tyler Jackson, 15 tackles. Caleb Arnold, 11 tackles. Samuel Scalf, the fourth, 11 tackles and a turnover. So those kids really had good afternoons for you.
Yeah, Tyler Jackson's just been one of the most consistent players on our team. I mean, he's an older kid who's kind of been through a lot, and he's been through a lot of adversity, and so he's got a lot of grit and determination, and he has learned what it takes to be a consistent football player. And I hope our other players that haven't played, that aren't as experienced, are looking to him.
And they feed off that?
Yes, absolutely. We try to point those guys out. These guys are playing good week in and week out. Here's how he prepares, and that's how you grow and learn.
We are talking with Lamar University head football coach Blane Morgan. We're at Little Woodrow's on our weekly Wednesday show. Going to shift gears for our next segment. We're going to be talking Lamar women's basketball. We're joined by Coach Aqua Franklin following the break on News Talk 560 KLVI. Harold Mann back with you out at Little Woodrow's Colonnade Shopping Center, talking Lamar University football each and every Wednesday night during the duration of the football season here at Little Woodrow's. And we do shift gears. We're going to talk to women's basketball. Coach Aqua with us today, Aqua Franklin. And Coach, doesn't it seem like yesterday you were out in Vegas playing in the Western Athletic Conference tournament, and here we are almost like snapping our fingers, and you started practice this week.
Yeah, it happened really fast. I feel like we had no summer, but we're excited to be back on the court. We're probably 2 weeks now into official practice, and so the weather's changing, so we know basketball season is coming soon.
Going back to last year's team qualified for the Western Athletic Conference tournament. You win your first game against New Mexico State. Unfortunately, dropped the second game against Sam Houston State, but your team really matured, I thought, from latter in the year as you got into that tournament. And I know ifs and buts, but still, you're 1 or 2 plays away in that game to advance into the next round.
Absolutely. I think throughout the season, you wish that wasn't the last game just because of how well we were playing. I think at that time some of the seniors actually stepped up, and they kind of felt like, or felt that it was coming to an end. And so they fought. They actually helped a lot of our young kids grow up. And now some of those young ladies are carrying that over into this into our preseason and now going into our season. Acacia Davis is doing an unbelievable job.
Freshman of the year.
She's done an unbelievable job of coming back and getting in shape, maybe the best shape she's been in. I haven't had a post player make their mile time first ever. I don't think I've ever heard of that, and she was. And then came back and ran it again on her own with some teammates and beat that time. And so she's done a tremendous job of getting herself in shape and also expanding her game. Sabria Dean, who the last time we were in the Southland, was Freshman of the Year as well.
So you've had back-to-back Freshman of the Year in 2 different conferences.
Yes.
You don't see that very often.
No, you don't. You don't. But those 2 young ladies are really hard to beat. Not only on the court, but also in the classroom. They're great students as well.
You know, when you talk about your team, and this is what I love, and I know your coaching staff works hard with this as well, but when that season ended last year in Vegas, it didn't stop that night, and you just picked up the ball last week when practice started again.
Sure.
These kids work year-round, and they work hard. I mean, there's only so much contact you and your coaching staff could have in the off season, but they're out there busting it on their own.
Absolutely. After that Vegas trip, we gave them about 2 weeks off, and then they were ready to get right back at it. And so we did some postseason development, working on us as an individual, and then we turned around and came back in July and worked as a team on the floor with some of our new coaches.
The veterans on your team, you do have some newcomers coming in. What do you expect your upperclassmen to give these new girls coming in?
Well, you know, one is realizing how tough it is and lead them in the speed of the game, the toughness of the game. You talk about our last game versus in the tournament versus Sam Houston. We're 1 or 2 plays away, but I think a lot of that is toughness for us. And so we've come back and really worked on not just the physical aspect, but the mental toughness that it takes to win. You know, winning is really hard. And so I think having our incoming players understand that. You know, adding some 2 high school students, one from Huntsville and Aaliyah Craft, who's just a utility kid. She's athletic. She's going to be all over the floor, but tremendous on the defensive end. She's going to be one that's going to guard all over the court. And then Armani Taylor, who's from Houston, Shadow Creek, won a lot of games, went deep into the playoffs, going to be a really, really good point guard for us. And then in addition with the transfer portal, we were able to add Anaya Bernard. She's coming off a conference championship or a conference title from Idaho State. So she has some experience. Also, she's from Duncanville High School, which, you know,
stays in the state,
but, you know, their state, they get to the state tournament every year, and so bringing in some of that winning flavor to add to what we already have is going to be tremendous for us.
We mentioned a Southland Conference Freshman of the Year, followed by a Western Athletic Conference Freshman of the Year. You like going back to the Southland?
I do. I like it for 2 reasons. One, for our student athletes, their parents to be able to make majority of the games, whether we're at home or on the road. You know, you know, the furthest we have to travel is 4 hours, if that, and so able to get our young ladies back in class, but not only can they see them on ESPN3, but they can actually get to the game and be there in person. That also helps our fans, and that means so much for our players to see our fans travel, but we need that support on the road. There's some really tough coaches in this league, and I think our kids work really hard, and they deserve their support.
Visiting with Coach Aqua Franken, talking Lamar women's basketball. I'm sure you're thrilled only driving 40 minutes to the conference tournament instead of getting on a plane and flying to Vegas. I had someone text me last year, you've got Sam Houston State and Lamar playing in Vegas. Geographically, that makes no sense. But now you're going to be going over Lake Charles, and that's super for our fans.
Absolutely. It'll be tremendous. Our rival school should be read out, if you will, and you know, it'll be an outstanding opportunity for our young ladies to go in and compete and hopefully expand upon our postseason play.
Let's talk about your non-conference schedule. I know we visited last week. You were on with us on our pregame show for football, but those that may not have been tuned in, tell them what you've done. I love it.
we went out. Our 3 big games are we'll play LSU kind of right away down in Baton Rouge. We'll play Arkansas and Fayetteville, And then we'll go to where are we going? LSU.
Arkansas. It'll come to you.
Yep, it'll come to me. But excited about those games. What it's going to do for our players. We're going to have an opportunity to go out and compete against the best of the best.
Baylor
is
yeah,
it.
now I think you told me
That's
Baylor.
it.
Yeah, I just clicked. Yeah.
Well, I got to get my Dallas kids home. I got a lot of Dallas kids on my roster. Got to get my Dallas kids home.
Do you do that when you recruit? I know you probably don't tell the kid that, but if you get a kid from Central Texas or West Texas, do you try to maybe go to Texas Tech, Baylor, close to their home?
Absolutely. Especially in this schedule was made when we were in the WAC. Yeah. And so having those games far away, I wanted to make sure that we were able to get those young ladies back home. Now being back in the Southland, staying regional, it all works out for the best. So again, they still get to see those games. Our furthest trip this year is Arkansas, which we're excited about it. All three teams play very differently, so we're going to be prepared for our conference teams. We also play PV at their place. We return the game there, and so we know that'll be a hostile environment. We'll be really excited about it, and hey, we got to get up for those games. I get excited.
It just gets you better for conference.
Absolutely.
Just gets you better for conference.
Absolutely. And then we have UTA coming in, which is an NCAA team. They won
Louisiana Lafayette.
UTA was a NCAA team who won the Sun Belt last year.
And now they're in the WAC.
And they're in the WAC, yeah. So I'm really excited about our schedule. It's very challenging. We have a lot of work still to do, but I like where we are now.
Coach, thank you so much for stopping by. We're not that far away from women's basketball.
Absolutely. Can't wait. Y'all get out, continue to support this football team, and can't wait to see y'all in the Montaigne.
Lamar women's basketball coach Aqua Franklin, Harold Mann with you. We continue with the Coach Blane Morgan Show from Little Woodrose on News Talk 560 KLVI. Harold Mann back with you at Little Woodrose, Colonnade Shopping Center, and the Phelan Boulevard near Dowling Road here in Beaumont. Inviting you to come out and see us. We're here each and every Wednesday night talking Lamar University athletics with the Coach Blane Morgan Show. We now welcome Scott Thiessen to the show, handles outside linebackers and kickoffs. So we'll talk about that a little bit with Coach Thiessen. Just tell us about your background a little bit, Coach.
Yeah, I grew up in the Central Valley in California and went to high school and started JUCO ball out there, then got recruited out to play in Youngstown, Ohio, and finished up my college career there. And
you were a Penguin?
I was a fighting Penguin.
A fighting Penguin.
A fighting Penguin, yes, sir. And then after I graduated, came back to California, started teaching and coaching. Made my way out to Colorado Springs in the Air Force Academy Prep School, where I had spent the last 7 or 8 years before Coach Morgan brought me on here at Lamar.
At what point in your life, career, I guess, did you decide you wanted to be a coach?
I knew early on that I wanted to teach and coach, and then as I got into that and coached more and more, I knew that it was going to be something that I wanted to make a profession. So as it was a kind of a progression for me, it wasn't like a one day I knew I was going to be a college football coach and that'd be my profession.
What you got here? The COVID year 2020? Is that right?
Yes,
just
sir.
Talk about how crazy that was.
Yeah, it was an interesting transition coming to Lamar with Coach and right before COVID hit and all of the things that came about with that and the adversity that we had to face from not having the guys, not being around the guys, and obviously the recruiting part of it. Was definitely a challenge, not to mention going through a spring game or a spring season. So all of those things kind of pile up and the adversity, it just builds kind of your character and how do you respond from that. And we're getting there.
You handle kickoff returns, and you had one on Saturday.
Yeah.
You can't get better than that.
Yeah, it was
a 100-yard kickoff return. Demaja, just talk about, as a coach, the feeling watching that young man take it, cut right, and just go down that sideline.
Yeah,
100 yards.
I know, 100. And the couple weeks prior, like we had been kind of knocking on the door, and we're a block or two away from really springing a big one, and felt like we had a good chance last week, and everything lined up, and it wasn't just Demaja, it was everybody on that team.
Right.
that held their block, and
he got that wedge and he was gone.
Yeah, he was able to bounce it out to the sideline, and his off returner Andre Dennis had a few big chips and blocks on his way to the end zone. So it was a lot of fun, and looking back at the crowd and the sideline, that's the kind of spark that you want to generate in some of those games.
Now, I don't know how many years ago it was where you do have the opportunity, to fair catch, and it comes out to the 25-yard line. Do you leave that up to your kickoff returners? And if they want a fair catch, if they feel as though they could bust it like Demaja did, I mean, how do you coach that? What do you tell them on kickoff returns? Because there's sometimes a kid will take it to 5 and maybe get out to the 15.
Yeah, and some of that is just the instinct of the player. You want your playmakers with the ball in their hands to make plays. Sometimes it works out like it did last week, but you really coach them up on just the decision-making process when that ball is in the air. We have certain spots on the field where we know we're going to fair catch, and it is a constant process during the week in practice of getting him enough reps to know and be comfortable with what does it feel like to fair catch it like that, and when is it not really on the spot that we want it.
One good thing about a 100-yard kickoff return, the rest of the kickers were pooch. So
that's right.
You're going to get a pretty good feel for this.
No doubt. And hopefully we're going to get another shot or two this week to return it, and we'll see what we can do with it.
Visiting with Scott Thiessen on the Lamar football coaching staff, also work with outside linebackers. Talk about the young group you have.
Yeah, they're coming along. Caleb Arnold has stepped in here the last couple weeks and has been pretty productive with a fair number of tackles.
He had 11 on Saturday.
Yeah, had 11 on Saturday. I think he had a couple TFLs in there as well. Mm-hmm. So and that's kind of back-to-back weeks for him. Having some pretty good production. Jalen Freeman is another guy that we continue to look at and just get the consistency with him, but he's very dynamic and explosive off the edge. So it's fun coaching those guys and seeing the development that those guys have made, even just from the beginning of fall camp to now. So
you, not only the linebackers, just from A to Z on this football roster, very young.
Yeah.
67 freshmen, 98 freshmen, sophomores combined. Right. How difficult, or is it easy? I mean, when you work with someone at that age, because some kids, they come in and, they're coming out of a winning high school football program. They can be fearless, and they're just raring and ready to go. Yeah,
you get the best of both. You're going to have guys like that knows what it feels like to win and win a lot. And we have a couple of those guys that were in high school state championship games last year that bring a lot of just kind of the experience
two kids from China Springs High School won championships.
Yeah, and then you have a bunch of guys also that it's in high school they were the guy making all the plays, and now they have to play a little bit more within a system, and that's new for them, and that's a transition. So you look to the guys that have some of that experience with culture and that kind of thing, and build off of that, while also having the excitement of really kind of breaking a guy down and teaching him the process of how we do things within our defensive scheme and within the program itself.
Talk about the defensive scheme when it comes to the major difference between, I know where you line up on the field, but I guess assignment-wise, the major difference between an outside linebacker and an inside linebacker.
Probably the biggest thing is you have the potential of playing a lot more space as an outside linebacker.
So you got to be more athletic.
Some would say, but you're gonna, in our system, our outside linebackers are very dynamic and have the ability to do a bunch of different things, whether it's coming off the edge and pass rush, setting edges and holding the line of scrimmage and being able to drop into coverage. So there's a bunch of different things that we ask those guys to do, where an inside linebacker, you're still going to drop into coverage, but everything's a little bit more confined in the box for those guys. So we kind of play off each other, and Coach Weichert and myself coach both those positions, inside and outside guys, in the same room together. So we're able to get some complementary players out of those guys.
Talked to Coach Morgan about this same thing. You're way behind on Saturday. Come back, make it a one-possession, 3-point game. Just talk about the feeling on the sideline even from the coaching booth. It's all around. Just the excitement you saw from our young guys.
Yeah, that was the biggest thing, to see them really rally around and bounce back from a pretty big deficit there in the first half, and just to see the fight and the willingness for those guys to keep coming back series after series, and you start to slowly build that momentum back, and now you come to the middle of the fourth quarter and you're right there in it, and you have a shot to win it, and got to go finish the job.
How's the attitude going into San Antonio on Saturday? Kids fired up, ready to go?
Yeah, they see the fourth quarter that we had. They're fired up, ready to go. Some of the success that we had on special teams gives those guys just another level of confidence that we're trying to build on. So come Saturday, we're excited to get back out on the field and go take it to a pretty good Incarnate Word team.
Coach, thank you so much for stopping by, and looking forward to the rest of the year. I mean, only one conference, 2 conference games behind us, still a long way to go, so a lot could happen over the next few weeks.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to the challenge and what the rest of the season brings.
All right, Coach Scott Thiessen with the Lamar University Cardinal football team, rejoined by Coach Blane Morgan when we return to Little Woodrose on News Talk 560 KLVI. Back with you at Little Woodrose Colonnade Shopping Center here on Phelan Boulevard, rejoined by head coach Blane Morgan. First off, let's talk about, and you and Coach Aqua were having a good conversation, just to talk about how exciting it is to have a coach from another sport come on the show, and as a coaching staff, how you head coaches kind of work together and talk together.
Yeah, I think Aqua has been through a lot of the kind of growth pains of building a program or rebuilding a program. I know Lamar's had a history of success in women's basketball, and then she kind of had to, when she took over, it was a rebuild. And so going through that process and talking about it, there are a lot of common themes.
Well, yeah, there's similarities.
A lot of things. Just talking about getting 2 or 3 possessions in basketball, and having a turnover and getting a stop and that sort of thing. It sounds so familiar. 2 or 3, really 3 or 4 plays over the course of a game really completely change that and sway it. And so it's great to have great coaches that are great people, within the athletic department. And so Coach Brooks has been a great sounding board as well with all his experience. And so we all root for each other. The men's baseball team was on campus last week and, talked about how much, hey, we're going to be at the game. We're going to be supporting you guys. And we just appreciate, and we're going to try to do our part once we get done with the season to go out and support all the basketball teams, baseball and softball teams in the spring. And just because we have the biggest team, it's just it should be who we are as far as our Lamar community. Support each other.
Department.
Yeah, just that's who we are. We're family. We take care of each other. We support each other, and we always root for each other. Coach
Scott Thiessen on with us as well. Just talk what kind of impact he has had for your coaching staff and the kids.
I just think he's just an incredible person. And when we hired our staff, that was the number one thing I wanted. I wanted men of character that kids can that they can learn from. They can see them as fathers and husbands, and that ultimately, our players are going to grow, and they're going to graduate, and they're going to go out into the world. And I feel it's our responsibility to help them grow into men and teach them core values, and character. And we want them to be great husbands and dads, ultimately, and 10, 20 years from now, come back to Lamar and have something that they're very proud of.
When you looked at Scott, and what did you see in him that you want to add him to your coaching staff?
Yeah, well, his brother's one of my best friends, the offensive coordinator at Air Force right now, Mike Thiessen, and he and I played together at the academy, and so I had a relationship with Scott. He was a head coach at the Air Force prep school, so he had head coaching experience, to kind of lean on, making decisions and doing some of those things, and I just knew what kind of person he was, and just what kind of family he had come from, and so that was those were the really the key ingredients. And he's such a team player. He's such a a we guy. It's never about him. He's all for the team, and I love having guys. And what it creates is players that kind of have the same attitude.
Going back to basketball real quick, did you play high school basketball?
I did. I had my one shining moment. I had one season, and we actually got to play in the state championship game. So my sophomore year, I got a chance to play hoops. But I grew up, my dad being a coach. You're always around the gym. You're always shooting. You're always, you're always playing whatever season the sport is. That's what you're playing as a coach's kid. So it's hoop season, basketball season. You're in the gym shooting. At baseball, you're out in the yard hitting the ball around.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you, what year was that you played in the state basketball championship?
Well, it was TAPS, so I played in TAPS. We played St. Pius that would have been my sophomore year, 1992.
Okay, that would have been that.
Yeah.
when I got into the 2000s, I started broadcasting the TAPS football, basketball, and baseball state championship. So you're already gone by then.
Yeah.
So let's go back to our homecoming game and leading up to the game, the tailgating. I mean, the fans showed up tailgated. And you had a lot of them come through the gates and come into the stadium, and that had to be really exciting for the pregame stuff with the fans, and then at the game itself.
Yeah, just to look over on the home side and see all the red in the stands. It just for our kids to have that support. I mean, I can't iterate enough. We've got great kids that we've recruited. That we've brought to Lamar and really are creating a core and a foundation for a program, a football program, like a longer lasting, you see different programs that are being built in different ways these days, with the transfer portal and that sort of thing. And that's what we inherited. And I didn't want to revert back to that. We really, it's exciting just to see within the program the transformation that these kids have having an off season and coming together, and going forward. And then it'll be exciting because they've gone through some hard stuff this season.
Mm-hmm.
When we do finally break that seal and get into on the win column, it's going to be so rewarding to these guys.
And again, for the fans, a lot of excitement near the end of the ball game, and just got to get the fans out there because the kids deserve it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we played in excitement. You stay till the fourth quarter, you're going to get some excitement.
Yeah.
Every single game that you've been in, a drive at the end of Northern Colorado that we didn't finish. The fourth quarter in the game the other day, Northwestern State, same thing, rally back, and so on and so forth. So the last three games, but what we want to see is to play with a little more consistency, so we don't have to rally in the fourth, and we can be right there.
This programming note, next Wednesday we will not have a show because you're off a week from Saturday. We'll be back out here in 2 weeks. Again, no coaches show out here next Wednesday, back in 2 weeks. Speaking of back, we're going to get our final break in, and then we get set for UIW coming up Saturday in San Antonio. We're back to Little Woodrow's on News Talk 560 KLVI. Harold Mann with you again at Little Woodrow's Colonnade Shopping Center, where we bring you the Coach Blane Morgan Show, talking Lamar University football. Again, a week from Saturday is an open date on the Cardinals' schedule, so we will not have a show next week. We'll be returning here in 2 weeks, talking Cardinal football. In 2 weeks, we'll be getting ready to talk to you about the Prairie View game, hopefully talking about a nice win in San Antonio against UIW. But you're talking about UIW, Coach, are 4-1. Their only loss coming to southeastern Louisiana. They're ranked number 10 in the country right now. Obviously, you're going against, with the exception of maybe SMU, your FBS school, you're going against your toughest opponent of the year.
Yeah, they might be the best team that we've played, and certainly they're explosive. They've got, I think the number 3 offense in the country in FCS football. They're playing very well and taking the ball away on defense, and really you look at them in their roster, it's unbelievable. It looks like a team that I used to be very familiar with, BYU, where kids would go on a 2-year mission and come back, and they're 23 to 25 years old, and a lot of these guys are graduate students, and they have a handful of transfers, and so they're probably one of the oldest teams that will play this year, and probably in the country. And so a lot of experience, a lot of talent, very good football team.
What do you see from them offensively? What will they show us?
Well, Lindsey Scott, they'll go really fast. They'll spread you out at times and run the ball. Try to create a really light box and run the ball. They'll flip the ball out. If he gets into trouble, he's really athletic. And so with a spread out box, he can go create on his own. And so they really put pressure on you. It's kind of like, a little bit like a fast break offense in basketball. They're gonna push the tempo, and they're gonna run and gun. It'll feel a little bit like SMU, but the quarterback now can make plays with his feet.
What about on defense? They pretty strong up front.
Yeah,
will they show you blitzes? What will they show you?
Yeah, they're based out of a 4-down front, and number 8 seems like he's been there forever. We played against him in the spring. He's all conference, all American, all everything. They just create space. Their nose is transferred from Houston. He's 375 pounds, so they're big inside. And what they do is they take up space and let number 8 just run around, and he was all preseason everything in the conference. And then on the back half, they got guys that can play man. They will they'll mix their coverage looks, and so we've got to be ready just at quarterback to keep things pretty simple and let our quarterback go and operate and be decisive with the ball.
Speaking of quarterback, got to ask you. We've seen both Nick and Mike out there.
Yeah.
What are we looking at on Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, you may see 3 quarterbacks on Saturday. What we've got to do is we've got to find just a formula that works, that fits. And really it's been the guy with the hot hand. And so what you'd like to do is find that guy early, the guy that is that's ready to play and is going to go in there and give us the best chance to win. We're going to have to play a clean game on Saturday. We're going to have to, take care of the football. We're going to have to make some plays, some contested catches. We're going to have to take the ball away. We're going to have to win the special teams. And finally, maybe go after a punt and block one this week. And so we're going to have to be really good, and we're poised to do that. I think we have a really good game plan in place. Our coaches have done a great job of preparing our kids so far this week, and last couple of days we'll try to tighten that up and hone that in.
Let's go back to that young freshman class we talked about. Of course, Savon's not a true freshman, but Kendon is. We talked about him receiving, but Major Bowden, he'll sneak up on you. This guy, he runs the football. You can put him back there as a returner. You passed him out of the backfield.
Yeah.
You could use it. Coming from a state championship team, this is a kid you utilize, quite a bit in your offense.
He plays like an older guy. It's funny. In practice today, he dropped a ball, and that was the first ball in how many? All our guys were getting on him because he never drops a ball. He does everything very well. He's a coach's kid.
Yeah.
And I was not here when Cade Harrington was here, but he sounds like he is very, very similar.
About the same build.
He's going to be a very, very good. He already is, but just imagine. He's going to grow into just a phenomenal football player.
How healthy are you coming in?
We're healthy. We got a couple guys that are down, but other than that, I think we've managed to stay pretty healthy this year, and that's a testament to our training staff.
I always like to wrap it up to talk about the schedule when you're heading out and getting on that bus heading out on Friday sometime, I imagine.
Yeah, we love rolling out. Again, Fast Friday, we do it in the morning, and our kids have kind of bought into it and get them amped up for the week. And then we'll roll out around noon and pull into San Antonio and go. And I really like road trips because what it does is it gives us a meal on Friday night where it's our kids and they're all in the same place, and they get a chance just to hang out and be. We talk about family. They get to be family, and same thing. And our coaches just get to relax a little bit. All of them have families and stuff. So and really you get a chance to get away and focus on the game. So it's awesome.
Mid-afternoon, 4 o'clock kickoff, so you should not be rolling back into town extremely late.
Yeah, we'll get in about midnight, which is super early. compared to the rest of our trips.
All right, Coach. Again, thank you so much. Again, the off week coming at a good time.
It is. It is. We'll, now really halfway point of the season is a great time for your off week, and our team is you get halfway through the season, you're beat up and banged up, and so it'll just be a great week for us to refresh, to hit reset, self-evaluation, and then really a new season for us. And I think we'll see growth.
Well, good luck on Saturday. We're back here in 2 weeks. We see you this Saturday, then home against Prairie View coming up in 2 weeks.
Awesome. Go Cards.
All right, Coach Blane Morgan, thanks to Chelsea back in the studios. For everybody out here at Little Woodrose, I'm Harold Mann. Have yourself a good night, and we'll see you at Provo Sunfree in 2 weeks.